All right, it's been a while since I've done one of these little mix of a record and a movie review, kind of talking about more along the lines of how I got introduced to some music through a movie, because most all of my musical taste has been formed by songs that I've liked and heard in movies. And the record that we're talking about is the Beatles' first album, Please Please Me. And what's special about this one and why I wanted to do this review now is because I got it for the first time. And it's been a copy that I've been seeking out for quite some time, but it's always been pretty expensive, especially if you want to get a good sounding version. Now, the particular record that is most famous for this release is called Die Beatles, which is German for the Beatles. And I did some research. I kind of get burnt out sometimes doing research when it comes to certain things. And the whole backstory of this album is confusing to me. And you read something, then you see someone else immediately give a counterpoint to it. So take this with a grain of salt. But from what I understand, Germany got the reels to cut their vinyls, and apparently they either got by accident like the actual master copies, whereas the original UK versions were like a generation later. That may or may not be true. I've heard that there was like everywhere got the EQ'd version, but Germany got the non-EQ'd version. I heard that was untrue. I heard that no, it's the same version, just when Germany cut it, they just EQ'd it differently when they did that. I think that more than likely could be more correct. Whatever the case is, when you hear the German version, and not all German versions are like this, but the Die Beatles version, and then this version, which is not Die Beatles, because Die Beatles does not say the Beatles on it, and it's slightly different on the cover. It's actually way different. But this particular version, and I don't even know what year this came out. It's the year that this was released is not even listed. But it came from the same tapes that the Die Beatles version came on, so it's the same. But I got this for a way cheaper price than if I would have got the Die Beatles version. And this is an unbelievable sounding copy. There is barely any noise whatsoever. It's super quiet. It sounds incredibly full. This sounds like the Beatles are there in the room, like a lot of great records do. It sounds like the musicians are there, but it really sounds like it. It's spectacular. I mean, I did a sound comparison between this and other copies that I have, and there was no comparison. This easily won. So definitely, if you like this album, if you already like this album, and if you don't already know about the Beatles and that whole thing, I would suggest doing maybe a little bit of research, and you can probably have something as comparable as to this for less than $100. So that's kind of the backstory of the record in itself. Now, as far as how I've heard of this record, well, it all started with a movie called Ferris, Bueller's Day Off, and everyone knows the scene. There's the big parade sequence, and Ferris is out there singing, and all of a sudden he breaks into the Beatles' Twist and Shout. And I remember the first time, well, probably the first couple times watching this, not knowing what that song was, but thinking that this is a really good song. I really enjoy it. What is it? Oh, it's from this band called the Beatles. Oh yeah, they sang that song "Can't Buy Me Love" from that other movie that I like, and they also sang this song from this. And here's just another song of theirs that I like. And even though it's not a Beatles song, and about half the songs on here are covers of other songs, because that's just the way it was back when they were releasing records, and that's kind of always been the way it was. There's always like little covers of things here and there, but Yeah, I heard that, and the more I heard the Beatles, the more I realized I liked Beatles songs. The more I would listen to their records. This record, though, it was not. It's not their best record. It's their first record. It contains a lot of themes over and over. You know, mostly romantic themes. Along the way. But I never, for some reason, I never listened to the record as a whole, and I didn't really know. Love Me Do obviously is a big hit off of here. I didn't realize how big of a hit I Saw Her Standing There, or the title song Please Please Me was. Even though it's weird to sing, Boys is a great song. P.S. I Love You. I mean, I consider a name off all these songs. Misery, Anna Go to Him. And, there's just a whole bunch of songs that, hey, wait a second. Yeah, actually, every single song on here is really good. A Taste of Honey. You just go on and on. Yeah, so you have to realize that it came out in 1963, and it's not going to contain the Beatles' most well-known material, especially their stuff from the middle late 60s. But it actually is a really great record, and I'm glad Ferris Bueller really set me upon the Beatles and that particular song, Twist and Shout, knowing that, hey, I like the song Twist and Shout, but I eventually want to hear the rest of the songs on that record. And it took me a long time to do that, because ever since Ferris Bueller's Day Out came out and I knew the song Twist and Shout, I never really bothered to listen to any more of the record. And I didn't really even bother to listen to many Beatles records at all until easily into the 2000s. And there was another movie that came out that featured Twist and Shout, and that was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. One of my favorite sequences is when they're moving into their new apartment, and they're talking about how they just kind of do whatever they want and they live their life, and it shows them just doing random things throughout that apartment, and some hijinks with the fireplace and whatnot. And the entire time, Twist and Shout's playing, and then it finally caps off with them sitting on their little mattress watching a performance of, I'm guessing that was like an Ed Sullivan performance of Twist and Shout, I forget. But that scene, when I remember watching that in theater, not only being really full of joy while watching the movie, because it's a sad movie, but it's really uplifting. I remember that scene just being like, yeah, have fun, enjoy your life, Twist and Shout. And I think it's a very happy song in that regards. And I remembered watching it and being like, I've always liked this song. Why haven't I listened to the rest of the record? So shortly thereafter, I finally listened to the entire album. And of course, the first time I listened to it, I was waiting for Twist and Shout to happen. It's the last track on the record. I didn't know any of the other songs. I would say at least 10 of the songs can kind of go by, especially the first time you're listening to them, as just standard pop songs from that era. But then the more times you revisit the record, the more times you understand the types of songs and the way they're doing it and the melodies and all that, the more you get to be like, to the point where I am now, it's like, yeah, this is a great record. This blows away so many other albums out there. It's fantastic. So if you've not seen either one of these movies, I'll eventually do full reviews on these. But yeah, I mean, watch them both. If you don't know of any of the songs on her, other than Twist and Shout or I Saw Her Standing There or something like that, I mean, I would assume most people probably have heard Love Me Do. But yeah, just I think it's a great way to get involved into this early album. It sets the mood. That whole album it feels joyous, no matter what the lyrics are saying sometimes. But the whole album is very upbeat, a masterclass all over the place. And if you can, get this, because there's something about listening to this album with its great acoustics that really makes the album shine. it is just the way to listen to it. So, and I know that's not possible, especially if you're not a huge fan of the Beatles, or if you just decide to maybe throw a few songs from this album on a playlist and listen to them randomly, which is not the way to do it. But yeah, I listened to this album for the first time yesterday, and it was just a new experience in hearing the music and understanding the music. And I'm sure I would have gotten around to this album at some point, obviously. But yeah, Ferris kind of introduced me, and then several years later, Benjamin Button reminded me. And yeah, I will always think of these two movies when I listen to this record, and especially that one song. But and yeah, there's other movies and documentaries and things that have the other songs on them, But these two movies really stuck out to me as when I was watching them, and how it got me into this record. So yeah, let me know what you think about these movies themselves. Did you first hear Twist and Shout from either one of these movies? What's your experience with this record? How I don't know how many people would say that it's the Beatles' best record, which is crazy to say because it's a really great record. It's a great pop music from 1963 record. But is it the best record from 1963 featuring pop music? Probably. I just think that I love how music can form my musical interest, and these movies really helped me really get to the point of finding that there was this German copy out there, and how it makes the music feel more alive than ever. But yeah, let me know below, and I will be shortly coming up with a video talking about homemade popcorn, and I will be introducing a show that I'm going to be reacting to that I think I don't want to be someone who just sits back and reacts to things, but certain things I do that I feel that need more attention out there, and then sometimes I just like seeing people react to stuff that is funny, that can make me laugh. So so I'll be reacting to some comedic things, and doing a review of homemade popcorn based off of a recipe that I saw. So we'll see how that turns out. But until then, yeah, let me know about these two movies or this record, and I'll catch you in the next one.